Okay, welcome everyone to my second shoulder day of the week. So I'm training shoulders again. Very excited about my shoulder workout. So it's going to be a simple workout. It's always the same exercise selection. I might switch things just a little bit, but I try to stick to the same exercise all the time so I can progress. My body gets used to just doing that lift. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that your body becomes more efficient with that exercise that you're doing. So if you're always switching things up, for example, on week 1 you do the bench press, on week 2 you ditch the bench press, you replace it with the dumbbell chest press, week 3 you switch to chest flies, right? So you're never doing the same movement, like the same exercise, like week to week. So in a way your body is not efficient at recording the threshold muscle fibers, and that leads to less gains. So forget about that muscle confusion, because you're not confusing the muscles, you're not shocking the muscles. You don't need that. I would say it's kind of like leaving gains on the table, something that you don't want to do. So I'd say stick to the same exercise, like for at least a few months. Stick to that same exercise. I would say you don't have to switch exercises. I've always been doing the bench, like I always do the bench press. Like I never stop doing the bench press. That's the flat barbell bench press. I always do that exercise. And yeah, I just like it, and I would say when I stick to that same exercise over and over again, I just train very hard on it. I do decent amount of volume. I would say I grow more compared to if I just decide to switch things up all the time, like every single week I switch something up. I'm not really activating these fast twitch muscle fibers, which in turn leads to less gains. So about my shoulder workout today, again I already told you that I'll be doing the same exercises. So as always, I'm going to start with the barbell upright throw. Now for the barbell upright throw, I like to rotate like different grips, but you don't have to do that in like a single workout. Instead you can do that, let's say you're training shoulders twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week. 3 times maybe a little bit too much, but let's say you do 2 to 3 times a week kind of frequency. So you can, on your different workouts, you can just use like different grips. And yeah, again, switching things up might be helpful, but you have to get efficient at the same movements. Okay, let's start. So I'm going to do 3 to 4 sets. So that's going to be like on average 7 sets of upright throws. It's a lot of volume, especially if you train very hard, and that's something that it's not optional, it's a must, it's required for maximum muscle growth. Okay, let's start. Again, I really care about my shoulders, so that's why I'm a big fan of the barbell upright throw. Okay, let's see. I believe that it's a very good idea for every muscle group, but especially the shoulders. Start with 2 very big compound movements like the upright throw and the barbell overhead press, or you can do the dumbbell shoulder press. So you can work the entire shoulder girdle, and then you're going to isolate every part of the shoulder for even more gains. Work on that vacuum, get that tiny waist, and build like the big shoulders, big upper body. You need to develop every muscle group. Yeah. Okay, moving on to my next exercise for shoulders is going to be a side out exercise, and this exercise is going to be the dumbbell lateral raises. Now, why are we doing an isolation exercise after doing the big compound movement that work the whole shoulder girdle? Well, if you're after maximum gains, and that's only if you're after maximum gains, I believe that you need to isolate muscle groups. Not necessarily just because you have to isolate a muscle group, right? Because isolation, you understand the meaning of that word. I mean that I'm trying to say that it's not necessarily the isolation part, but it's just training different like functions of each muscle group to maximize muscle growth is what I'm trying to say. So that's why, yes, it's a isolation exercise, but that's why I don't really like the isolation and stuff like that. I prefer single joint exercises and multi-joint exercises. Now, the reason why we do both the multi-joint and single joint exercises is because we're not trying to isolate anything. Obviously, you have to isolate muscle groups if you're a professional bodybuilder and you're after like certain proportions, I understand that, but not really looking for like isolating anything. I believe I'm like not the best proportions, like have weak biceps, but I don't really care about that. I'm just trying to maximize the growth of absolutely every muscle group. So we need both because we are after 100% gains, that's why. The sets and reps on this exercise are going to be 3 to 4 sets, and we're trying to be in that 12 to 20 rep range, but on average I would say 12 to 15 with full range of motion. So when you're doing like higher reps, obviously you have to use the lighter weight. They cause us to failure, but again, the reason why I'm giving you like certain rep range is because I want you to pick the weight carefully, and you're going to fail like anywhere between 12 and 20 reps. Okay, so let's say you fail like at around rep number 15, that's perfect. Third exercise for shoulders is going to be a very big multi-joint movement, and that's the barbell overhead press. Now, in the past I never really did the barbell overhead press, but right now I believe that we need like different exercises to maximize muscle growth. So again, for shoulders, they're a lot more complex. So it's a very complex muscle group, honestly, because of its 3 parts. I already told you that, but each head of the shoulder has different functions and we need to train them. And I think that, again, I already said that it's a very good idea to do both multi-joint and single joint exercises to really maximize the shoulder development. So I'm going to do 3 to 5 sets on the barbell overhead press. Keep in mind I'm already fatigued, so I don't know if I'll be able to progress. Again, we're not after progress like every workout, every week. For me, I'm already advanced, so for me it takes like months to actually progress. To even add like 5 pounds is going to take me like months to actually achieve that. So let's start with my work sets. Again, I would say for most people you don't need to do like full volume. But again, if you want to get away with doing less volume, you need to be training harder. If you're not training hard, you have to compensate by doing a lot of volume, and even then you're not going to get the same muscle growth, so you're kind of wasting your time. Nine reps. Again, we're not after progress like every single week. So if you're a beginner, yes, you can probably progress like every single week. But as you get more and more advanced and you're past that beginner's phase, your progress is going to slow down. So because muscle growth slows down, your progress is also going to slow down, so you won't be able to add weight or reps every single week or every 2 weeks. You're going to slow down, so it's something normal. But again, the way you can tell that you're not doing too much volume is by you should judge your week-to-week performance on each exercise. So let's say that you're doing 20 sets for biceps, right? So if week to week your performance is starting to decline, you're doing too many sets, you're doing too much volume. So I would recommend for you to lower the sets. Usually 9 out of 10 times people are doing too much volume. So reduce that volume to 15 sets, and again, if your performance doesn't go up but it goes down, lower the sets even more. Go down to 10 sets. 5, 10 sets, 8 to 10 sets, something like that. Because doing too many sets, 20 is too much, 15 to 20 is too much. I would say for most people that's not going to work out that great for you, and I would say you need your diet to be like, you need your diet to support that training. If you're not eating enough calories, you're not able to recover. You're not eating like whole foods, that's going to impact your recovery abilities. So if your diet is not that good, let's say it's 5 out of 10, you need to make sure that you improve your diet. That's going to increase your recovery. It's going to help with recovery, so you might be able to benefit from doing more. But keep in mind, there's only so many sets that you're going to benefit from, right? Again, 15 is too much. Everything has to be like perfect. Diet, sleep, recovery, they have to be perfect. But again, if you're not training hard enough, you probably have to do all of sets. So that's why I'm always saying train harder.